to get food stamps and what have you. So it was a big article came out, and so no companies would let me endorse them. They had considered me for one of those cereal boxes, and I said, well, no, because we're a family company. And I felt like, man, God, Jesus Christ, man. And I was so upset that one night I went out to my friend's house, and in the back, in the bathroom, they was shooting up drugs, heroin. And I said, do me. And I did that. And I recall vividly that needle came like about a half an inch from my vein.
Wow.
And one guy said, we're not going to let you F your life up. And they stopped. I mean, just...
Wow. So it wasn't you that stopped. They were looking after you.
They stopped. They looked, yeah.
And this was after the Olympics?
Yep.
Wow.
And...
wow. Is that amazing fate, though? Like, somebody in that bathroom says something like, you have a gold medal. What are you doing? Well, you have something.
He said, you're not one of us. He said, you have a chance to be somebody. And that resonated with me, I mean, for so long. Even now, I think about that. I get chills when I think about that.
How close it came to possibly going down the toilet.
Because my older brother, Roger, who got me in boxing, he became a heroin addict.
Oh, shit.
He boxed and was an addict. And my little sister, Sharon, she was an addict too.
Well, and plus, what your goal wasn't to become a professional fighter. I mean, you didn't say you wanted to just. You didn't want to just win the Olympics, and then once that was done, just get out of boxing?
Just get out of boxing, because I've heard those horror stories of boxers who made a lot of money, and they end up derelicts on the streets, with nothing. I mean, it still happens today, without question. And I didn't want to be them. Plus, my hands were small, and you want to feel it?
I'm feeling Sugar Ray Leonard. I don't want to feel it the way Hearns felt it, but I mean it's nice to touch it and not have to worry about going to the hospital after.
Let's take punches.
My hands were fragile, and they always were always in pain. And I thought I was going to go to University of Maryland. I wanted to go to University of Maryland and get a better job.
Jake LaMotta had small hands too. There's a scene in Raging Bull where he had small hands, and they're going to fight Joe Louis, and then his brother has to point out, you're a middleweight, idiot. He's a heavyweight. Jake wasn't that bright, obviously.
Did the money lure you back?
The money, no.
Did it lure you back in when you retired?
No. I was very fortunate to have a guy, my attorney, Mike Trainer, who orchestrated my career, kept me away from, all the bad stuff. He's responsible for me being in my position financially. And,
Now, I'm sorry.
No, I think back, because a lot of times, you don't smell the roses. And for all these years, I never took time to just sit back and look at what I've accomplished, because I was always trying to get the next thing, whether it's a fight or just girl or whatever. Now my life has changed because I've been 5 years sober. I walked into this meeting that changed my life, and it was the toughest thing to ever do. I mean, I would fight Hearns 3 times in one night. Then to have walked into that room, thank God I did. And when I first walked into that room, I remember I took 2 Vicodins to give me courage, to have the courage to walk into that room and to say to people, I'm an alcoholic. I left that room and I was exhausted. I was scared. And then the next day I went back. I took 1. And then the third day I said, Ray, you're lying to yourself. So I went the third day. I took nothing. And I experienced something, a fellowship of this program that has made me the man that I am now, 5 years later. It's amazing.
So what was it that made you feel that you had to go into...
because my wife would always say, my wife Bernadette would say, you're not present. I never quite understood being present, because I was there, but I wasn't there, really there. I took my kids for granted. I took my wife for granted, and I just felt that. I looked in the mirror, and that mirror don't lie. It tells you exactly who you are. And I cried, man. I looked at I said, all this fame, all this fortune I have, it really means nothing. It does, if I'm not happy. And I did soul searching, and I surrendered. I think that's the key word, surrender. And say, yes, I'm an alcoholic. And you know what? I'm a better person. I'm a better man this morning. today.
How much did the drugs and alcohol play a part? Because, I'm in the same boat you are. How much did the drugs and alcohol play a part? Because people, again, the image was so, the 7-Up commercials, nobody had any idea, but you were drinking and doing drugs to a pretty good part of your public life.
The drugs and alcohol escalated when I was retired. That didn't occur in the early part of my career. It started happening when I retired in 1982. That's when it all began, because then cocaine was like a cool thing. It was a cool thing, and pretty much not legal but accepted in a certain world. And I did it, and I had friends I thought were friends, and we just did it. And the more I did it, the less I thought of myself, because I had low self-esteem. Even as champion, I had low self-esteem.
Oh, Coke will cure that for couple of minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
For a few minutes.
For a few minutes.
If you try to have sex on it, then there's a low self-esteem again.
This is amazing, by the way. This is just, I'm so happy you're opening up, Sugar.
The book is so
Absolutely. It's the big fight.
brutally honest, and it really covers a lot of, obviously, pain. What was the hardest thing for you to talk about? Because you really got in depth about a lot of things that I nobody had any idea about. What was the hardest thing for you to open up about?
Well, when I was abused by someone that I really trusted, or twice it happened, and I didn't say the name, and someone, I read someone said, well, how come you don't reveal the name? These two guys are dead, and I don't want to hurt their family, and they're gone, and they won't hurt anyone else. For me to come out and say this has relieved me of so much pain and
Probably anger.
Anger,
Yeah.
because it's a paradox, man. Here it is. I'm a fighter, and yet I ran. I could have kicked their ass. I could have I could kill those guys, but I didn't.
Why didn't you?
One guy gave me money, and I needed money.
And you're talking about sexual abuse, it's not a physical thing.
At what age was this?
I was like 15, 16, just before, just
Before you made
the
it.
the Olympics. And I didn't tell my mom, my mother, father. I didn't tell my friends. I told my first wife, Juanita. And when I told her naturally I was drinking, because it breaks, when I drink, it breaks down that holding back. And she looked at me, and she responded like, that didn't happen. So, what do you say? I mean, what could she say to me?
Right.
What could she say to me that could solve me or fix me? Then I told my second wife, Bernadette. This is many years later. And again, I was drinking when I told her that, because I didn't have the courage to tell her when I was sober. And she looked at me, and somehow we kind of let it go by. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We just let it go by. Because what do you say? What can you say to me that's going to make me feel better?
Do you think it was that when something like that comes out, it gives great shame to the person? It's like you carry a sense of shame with you because that's happened.
It is shame. It is shame.
And it's like, people don't know how to handle it. When you're expressing shame to people, they don't know how to take it away.
I don't know the answer. I just don't know. I just feel better that I can't believe I'm sitting here in a station, radio station, and talking about this stuff. But I feel good that I'm talking about this stuff. I feel more of a person I feel lighter, by the way.
Are you still dealing with it? Or have you found a way to not bury it, but to have dealt with it and made peace with it?
If I said no, I would be lying. I mean, does it bother me as much as it bothered me before I made this revelation? No, not at all. In fact, I am. It may sound crazy, but I'm proud that I'm being transparent. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense or what, but I feel good that I'm saying this, because it's taken so much from me.
And honesty gives you a certain freedom, because no one can hold anything over you or against you, some secret that you never want to get out. If you don't have any secrets, nobody can really screw with you. So when you do let things out, and we've exposed so much about our own lives on this show, it is kind of freeing because no one can touch you. No one can really touch you.
Myself. I beat myself up so many times for 30 years, man. I beat myself up.
Were you mad that you didn't react differently?
Yeah, I'm saying.
Well, you got to have those regrets.
A lot of times when what happens to something like that happens, you feel like it's your fault.
Yes,
unless you're getting a wrestling picture.
I didn't retaliate. I didn't defend myself because I could have. I questioned. I kept questioning what the hell was wrong with me.
Did you feel like they had power over you?
Not power.
I mean, physically, obviously, you could beat the shit out of them, but was there some kind of weird mental power you felt they had over you?
One had Uncle Sam, dollars, because I needed. I mean, this is before the Olympics, so I had no money. I had no job. I had a kid. I had little Ray. I had no job. I needed to feed my son, and the other one was like a matter of trust. I want the Olympics. I mean, the Olympics to me was my ultimate, and again, I was, 15, 16, whatever the case may be. I trained for the Olympics, and that was my goal.
It sounds like it was a guy that was helping you train for the Olympics then, if I'm reading between the lines here.
Yes.
So if you expose him, that could take away your dream. That's confusing to a young man. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
am I onto something there? I don't know what you want to say, but
I don't know what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But no, it's like the guy. It's a weird guy. You trust somebody. They try to sexualize you, and it's like by exposing them, it's almost like it's safer sometimes just to shut it down and not just to kind of tuck it away and not deal with it. Because if this is somebody helping you achieve the Olympic dream, or it's like there's an ugly reality there. Like this could all be taken away.
You said something. Shut it down. I shut it down. Yes, I shut it down for 30 years, and thank God I opened it back up.
Yeah, Duran and Hagler and Hearns had to pay the price. You know how annoyed they are? You didn't talk about this 30 years ago?
Speaking of fighters, we were discussing this before you got here. It's tough, obviously, but top 5 fighters of all time. Do you have a list?
The top 5 fighters of all time. Well, for what he represented and what he meant to me and what he did accomplish, Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson.
We said you'd say that.
Joe Louis.
That's 3 we said.
Yeah, look at this.
I would.
You could put yourself on there, sir.
No.
Would you put yourself on the list? A lot of people would put you on the list.
A lot of people would put you on the top 5.
I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't. I let people be the judge of that. 5, what? Those 3? Was it 3?
Would you put Julio Cesar Chavez on the list because he was 80-0 at one point, or Holmes?
Chavez was an amazing fighter, great fighter. But that list there speaks for itself for me. It's like Rocky Marciano,
Yeah, that does kind of transcend. Sure. Everyone else is on a different number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 list. Those are like the legends.
Yeah, it goes beyond legendary. It's what they represented. It's what people felt about them. And
how about Foreman? Would you put him on that list just because of the way he destroyed Norton and he destroyed Frazier?
No, and George is an anomaly. I'd rather have George's grill. But
that damn moneymaker. Who knew?
Yeah.
It's like, I'll make a grill the size of my fist.
Yeah.
And God, that guy had huge hands.
You sure poor Leon Spence is putting out hats? It's like, nobody wants a hat, Leon.
George was responsible for